You think your fridge is keeping all your food safe? Think again. Storing these 3 everyday foods in there could actually make you sick, and maybe even send you to the ER. Today we're talking about the top 3 foods you should never put in your fridge. And trust me, number 1 will probably make you go check your kitchen right after this video. Let's be real. Most of us think the fridge is like a magic shield. Got food? Throw it in there. Problem solved, right? But here's the thing. The fridge can actually ruin certain foods, make them spoil faster, or even grow bacteria that cause food poisoning. I'm going to show you exactly which 3 foods are on the danger list, the science behind why they don't belong there, and what you should do instead. By the end, you'll probably rearrange half your fridge, and maybe even save yourself from a nasty stomach bug. All right, let's jump in. Number 3, tomatoes. Tomatoes are one of those things everyone buys and just tosses into the fridge without thinking. But here's the problem. The cold air in your fridge actually destroys the texture and taste of tomatoes. And it's not just about taste. Storing them wrong can create an environment where mold and certain spoilage bacteria thrive faster once they're brought back to room temperature. Here's what happens. Tomatoes have delicate membranes inside their cells that keep their flesh firm and juicy. When you put them in a cold environment, below 55 to 13 degrees, those membranes start breaking down. The tomato's texture turns mealy and grainy. You know that weird, sad tomato you try to slice and it feels mushy? That's cold damage. Worse, refrigeration can slow down the natural defense enzymes in tomatoes that fight off mold. That means when you take them back out, they're more vulnerable to spoilage. So you're basically giving bacteria a head start. There was a USDA study that showed storing ripe tomatoes in the fridge for just a few days reduced their natural aroma compounds by over 60%. That's why refrigerated tomatoes taste like they've been sitting in a cardboard box. So where should tomatoes go? In a cool, dry spot on your countertop, away from direct sunlight. And if you have unripe tomatoes, leave them out so they can fully ripen. Once they're ripe, you should eat them within 2 to 3 days. Number 2, potatoes. This one's a little sneakier because it's not about bacteria. It's about toxins. Potatoes stored in the fridge at low temperatures actually convert their starch into sugar much faster. Sounds harmless, right? But here's the kicker. When those sugar-loaded potatoes are cooked at high heat, like frying or roasting, they can produce a chemical called acrylamide. Acrylamide is classified as a probable carcinogen by health authorities, meaning it may increase cancer risk over time. And if that wasn't bad enough, cold storage can also trigger sprouting. Those greenish spots and sprouts aren't just ugly. They can contain solanine, a natural toxin that in high enough amounts can cause nausea, diarrhea, and even neurological symptoms. The Food Standards Agency in the UK specifically warns against refrigerating potatoes for this reason. If you've ever bitten into a potato and it tasted bitter, that's solanine. And here's the thing. You can't just cook it out. Heat doesn't destroy it. So how do you store potatoes the right way? Keep them in a paper bag or a cardboard box in a cool, dark place. Somewhere between 45 to 55 degrees, 7 to 13 degrees Celsius. A pantry or cellar is perfect. Just make sure it's not near onions, because the gases onions release can make potatoes sprout faster. Number 1, cooked rice. Now this one surprises a lot of people, and honestly, it's probably the most dangerous on the list. Cooked rice is a perfect breeding ground for a bacteria called Bacillus cereus. The scary part? This bacteria produces toxins that aren't destroyed by reheating. So even if you nuke that leftover rice until it's piping hot, the toxins can still be there. Here's how it happens. The spores of Bacillus cereus can survive cooking. If the rice is left to cool slowly at room temperature or even in the fridge for too long, those spores can multiply into dangerous levels. The bacteria thrive between 40 degrees, 4 degrees and 140 degrees and 60 degrees, what food safety experts call the danger zone. You might think, well, my fridge is below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, so I'm fine. The problem is when you put a big container of hot rice straight into the fridge. The center of that rice can take hours to cool down, giving bacteria plenty of time to multiply. And because fridges don't circulate air evenly, parts of that rice can stay in the danger zone much longer than you think. The result? Food poisoning that can hit within hours. Nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. And it's not mild. Bacillus cereus food poisoning is known as fried rice syndrome for a reason. It can be brutal. So what's the safe way to store rice? Spread it out on a clean baking sheet to cool quickly. Then transfer it to a shallow airtight container and refrigerate within 1 hour of cooking, and eat it within 1 to 2 days. The bigger problem. Here's the real challenge. Most of us assume the fridge is the safest place for any food. We've been taught cold equals safe since we were kids. But that thinking can backfire. Some foods are actually harmed by cold storage, and some dangerous bacteria don't care about the cold at all. In fact, the CDC estimates that about 48 million people in the US get sick from foodborne illnesses every year, and improper storage plays a huge role in that number. The danger isn't just the bacteria you can taste or smell. Some bacteria produce toxins that you can't see, smell, or taste, but can still make you really sick. And once those toxins are there, there's no cooking them out. The science behind it. Different foods have different water content, pH levels, and natural enzymes. The fridge slows down some bacteria, but not all. Psychotrophic bacteria, like Listeria monocytogenes, can actually grow at fridge temperatures. That's why deli meats, soft cheeses, and even pre-cut fruits can be risky if they're stored too long. And then there's texture and flavor damage. Cold temperatures can break down cell walls in fruits and vegetables, ruining the taste before they even go bad. That's what happens with tomatoes, bread, and bananas. The climax. Why this matters right now. Think about this. You might have all 3 of these foods in your fridge right now. Tomatoes getting mealy, potatoes quietly building up toxins, and cooked rice that could be a ticking bacteria time bomb. You could be eating them tonight without knowing the risk. Food poisoning isn't just a bad day in the bathroom. For vulnerable people, kids, pregnant women, older adults, or anyone with a weakened immune system, it can be life-threatening. So changing how you store food isn't just about keeping it fresh, it's about keeping you safe. Quick recap: tomatoes. Keep them on the counter, never in the fridge. Potatoes. Store them in a cool, dark place, not the fridge. Cooked rice. Cool it fast, refrigerate within an hour, and eat within 1 to 2 days. If you just follow those 3 rules, you've already lowered your risk of food poisoning more than most people. Your fridge isn't the enemy, but it's not the universal food safety vault we've been led to believe. Knowing what goes in and what stays out is one of the simplest ways to protect your health and make your food taste better. If this helped you feel even 1% better, go ahead and hit that like button, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more simple ways to upgrade your life every day.